Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and welcome back to my meadow. Today we are giving you the 6-month update on the comparison of the Birdies versus Vego raised garden beds. I am growing in Northeast Florida in zone 9A where we pretty much can grow year round here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep track of what's happening with these garden beds or any of the crazy things I'm doing around here in my Northeast Florida garden, feel free to subscribe and click that notification bell. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, I invite you to put them in the comment section below. I love hearing from you. I've learned a lot from you, and I look forward to continuing to share the little community that we're building here together. If you're new here, a little bit of housekeeping. I did purchase these beds myself. I did not receive them for free. And after evaluating, I chose to become an affiliate for both companies. That means if you make a purchase through my link, I'll receive a small commission, which helps support this channel. You won't pay more for that, and you're always going to get my honest opinion regardless of those affiliate relationships. Now, let's talk about these garden beds. I chose to purchase these raised garden beds, these higher garden beds, because I'm a woman of a certain age and I want to age gracefully and still be able to comfortably garden. So I thought being able to garden at waist high would be a great way for me to do that. So I chose to make the investment in these beds, and now I'm doing comparison videos on them because it helps other people who had the same question I did, is which bed is better? Now, if we want to look at all of the details, you can head to my website at michelleinthemeadow.com, and I have a blog post where I do all of the details neck and neck on the post. But I'm going to hit the most asked details here just so you can have a good idea of what we're comparing. This is the Vego 9-in-1 bed. Let's just take a quick look around, see how everything's looking. This is the Birdies 9-in-1 bed. We'll go ahead and take a quick walk around it as well. Hard to see with all these sweet potato vines. As I've said in other videos, they are remarkably similar. And if you didn't know specifically, you might be hard-pressed to know that I had two different brand garden beds here. When we compare the sizes, the Vego is a little bit taller, but the Birdies has a larger planting area when they're configured the way that I have them. And for clarity, I have the Vego 9-in-1 bed and the Birdies 8-in-1 bed, both in their tallest size. I wanted to get the camera up close this time to take a look at a few specific things. A little something is happening right there. That's the only spot I see that. And oddly enough, I have the same thing happening on the Birdies bed. I'll show you that in a second. But down here where it's been sitting in the mud, I don't see any rust. I don't see any concern. And overall, after 6 months, I think they still look good as new. Over on the Birdies, I have a little something happening here too. Oddly enough, in a very similar spot, but I'm not positive if it's rust or from hard water, but it doesn't appear to have any damage to the bed. And let me show you here where it's been sitting in the mud. everything looks just fine. So I'm not worried about that little spot. Everything else is looking wonderful. How much do these beds cost? Well, when I purchased them, they were within $1. As of September 2022, the Vego bed that I purchased is now $319.95 on the Vego website. Currently, the Birdies bed listed on the US website Epic Gardening is listed at $299. I also have a coupon code for you that will give you an additional 5% off using the code Meadow, which makes the bed around $284. So as of right now, about $35 cheaper than the Vego bed. One of the most notable differences for me when I was doing the original comparison video was that Vego had a rubber-coated metal edge and Birdies had a plastic UV stable edge. And I thought that long term I would really like the Vego edging better, but it turns out I don't. Because you see, when I raised my cattle panel, I scratched the rubber coating off of the Vego edging and now it's rusting in a couple of spots. I'm not going to treat it. I'm going to let this be a real test and we're going to see how it holds up over time before I need to replace it. But if I need to replace it with something different, Birdies now offers their edging sold separately and you can purchase that at the Epic Gardening website. So if you have some of the old Birdies or Vego edging, you can of course get something new and updated for your bed. The other place that the two beds have some differences, and actually the two companies have some differences, are with the accessories. Vego has more accessories available. They have different kinds of trellises, they have an arch trellis, they have a framework for pest control netting and for frost cover. On the Birdies, you currently only have the option to purchase a trellis kit through the Epic Gardening website. That will allow you to attach a 3/4 EMT conduit and build whatever kind of frame that you would want, whether it's for netting or for frost cover or for sun protection. What kind of bracing do they come with? Both models that I purchased came with bracing, but not every model from either company comes with bracing, but you can purchase it separately if you want to add additional bracing to your bed. Do these beds have a closed bottom? And the answer is no. They're all bottomless. And if you have a problem with critters that like to dig up into a garden, you may want to take a look at buying some gopher cloth or hardware cloth and laying it out on the ground before putting your Birdies and Vego beds down. Another viewer made a comment on the video recently that said I should really watch the Birdies beds for those corners where I had to turn them back. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, my package was damaged a little in shipping, but I've walked around the bed this morning and I can't even see where the bends were where I bent them back. So at least so far, there is nothing of concern in that matter. One of the big questions that comes up is where are they manufactured? And I knew that the Birdies beds were manufactured in Australia, but I did not know before I made my purchase that the Vego beds were made in China. I do my best to spend as much money on American-made goods as possible, but in our global economy, that is just not always possible. You have to make the choice that is right for you. Another viewer suggested maybe I would want to put these raised beds up on pieces of wood to keep them out of the mud, but I think that would defeat the purpose of having a metal raised bed, that the wood down in the mud would rot faster than the metal beds would rust out. How long do these garden beds last? Well, the Birdies beds have been on the market and tested in Australia for more than 13 years, so we know they have that going for them. The Vego beds are new to market with only a few years experience, but they claim that they have lab tested them and have built them to last for 20 years or more. So now that I have 6 months of gardening with these raised garden beds, what do I think? I love it. I love having my garden up high. Earlier this year I had shoulder surgery, so I had my wing in a sling, and it made it much easier for me to do my gardening, transplanting, watering, harvesting vegetables. It made it all so much easier. The one tip I would give you is don't plant things that grow too tall in these raised garden beds. So if you have a plant that grows 5 or 6 or 7 feet tall, you're putting that 2.5 feet up in the air, and then you'll have to harvest from the top of that. So think about that. And don't get me started on the motherland okra. My motherland okra is over 10 feet tall, so definitely don't plant okra in the extra tall beds. So what else do you want to know about this kind of raised garden bed? What other kind of things should I be looking out for? Feel free to put your comments below. And frankly, any comments that you have about these garden beds would be welcome. So there you have it. After 6 months, I'm incredibly happy. One minor disappointment, a couple of things I'm looking at. I've harvested a lot of food, and I'm darn happy about my choice to invest in both of these beds. Now let's be clear, you don't have to have a super tall raised garden bed to start a garden. If you don't have the budget for it, there are lots of other ways that you can start a garden. I saved up to do this, and I invested in these because of the kind of property that I have. Because of my age, I have rising water in the back. I wanted my garden beds to be up and not at risk for normal weather conditions here in my Northeast Florida garden. If you have suggestions or thoughts about anything that I've shared here, I welcome you to put those in the comments below. I'm excited to continue this series at least for the first year so we can see what a year's worth of gardening is like in the Birdies versus Vego raised garden beds. And I have some other bed review videos coming soon as well. Until next time, my friends, remember to drink plenty of water and wear a high quality sunscreen. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day.